Okay, so I kind of figured it out. I think we're at episode 9. I think I've lost track of episodes at this stage. Last Tuesday, we talked about the game from Chris Legg. It's totally human, totally something human, totally darn brain malfunction, totally real human. Yes, that wonderful Halloween game. So if you really like that from last week, I'd recommend you download it. It is Pay What You Want, which is a wonderful. And Chris has got some other really awesome games that you should check out. And yeah, and there will be more of those coming up as they come in. Hopefully, we're just sort of winging things as we go. I believe it was not the previous Saturday, but the Saturday before that I did a game about surfing, and I made a game on the fly. So I thought maybe I'll do that again. So I will make a game on the fly. Here we go. Let's make it more of a challenge today. I'm going to try to do this in under 10 minutes. So it is currently 1 minute in, and I have 10 minutes to create a game and conceptualize it and have legs behind it. So I am going to go on the interweb, and I'm going to just do like a random word generator thing and make a game like like you know how we do an improv word generator or title generator. Let's go with title generator, everybody. I'm just gonna come up headline generator. I'm just gonna make something up from whatever. I'm just gonna hit get the headline. So wait, that that doesn't work. Wrong site, not the site I want. The title generator for a blog, headlines, and more. Insert your keywords here. I'm just gonna put funky, fresh, and chicken. Let's see what that came up with. Okay, this is a terrible solution. I don't think I'm doing very well on this. Book title generator, the ultimate bank. I'm just gonna say we're gonna make a romance game. And I'm just starting to write. So generate a title. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, everybody, this is gonna be called The Sculpture and the Sculpture. What type of game can you make called The Sculpture and the Sculptured? A joke. I'm on a site called blog.reedsy.com/book title generator / and I made a romance, and I'm just starting to write. So this is one of those. We'll just make a title for you. So that's what it is. The Sculpture and the Sculpture. Okay, I think I'm just going to say I lost 2 minutes from doing that. And we're going to see if we can build this game in 8 minutes. What type of game is the Sculpture and the Sculpted? When I think of sculptures and sculpted, I think of like the statue of David. I think that's like the quintessential thing. I think of like Greek statues, or I think of like old school, like statues from the Renaissance era. The great Colossus is also a thing. Like I think this could be a game about like the great Colossus, but I think the Sculpture and the Sculptured should involve artists in some way. and it should involve like you know what if it's a game what if it's a game about a museum where the sculptures come to life, and it's Now, would you do stats on this thing? Like, I can't imagine how you want to do stats. Like, I know I'm like, oh, let's just do a PPT. Let's just do a PPTA. That's no. I'm not. Oh, that's chicken, by the way. That beeping sound in the background. I have chicken waiting for me, so I'm not gonna get to eat till I get this done. Stop ringing, chicken. Anyways, I've already burned 2 more minutes. I've maybe 5 left. Okay, so I imagine that this is going to be a game about sculptures and that come to life. Let's say that's the thing. Let's say that there was a master Renaissance artist, the one that most people don't really talk about, just for kicks. We'll refer to him as Splinterello. Just because we have Michelangelo, Donatello, we have Raphael, and we have Leonardo, and Master Splinter. So let's make it Splinterello, the unknown Renaissance artist used to infuse magic into his architecture, and he was a master thief. So these things just come to life, and they come to life now every night on full moons or whatever. Or no, make it more interesting, when there's a no moon, when the moon's gone, and it's like, oh yeah, no moon in the sky, these things come to life, and you play the sculptures, and you get to live on the earth for like a day. And so I imagine that the sculpture and the sculptured still doesn't work like the sculpture and the sculptured. It has to involve, like, the title doesn't necessarily work. It should involve Splinterello. Then let's not make it about the statues at all. Let's make it about the fifth Renaissance artist. I think that's more of an interesting concept. What if there was a 5th Renaissance artist named Splinterello, and you are artists in his workshop, and you create art. You're going to create art, and it'll be a game where we conceptualize the creation of art through roleplay and dice play. Story game. It could be a story. That would be perfect. So this isn't going to be a TTRPG. It'll be a story-based game with prompts, and you will play Splinterello's 3 or 4, however many assistants, and you will tell the story of Splinterello and why they just never became a famous name in the arts world. And they're a famous sculpture, so it's about the sculpture and the sculptured. It would be more interesting that Splinterello is actually a pretty terrible sculptor. And maybe, this might be more fun, because women were not necessarily accepted into the society of artists. This can be a story about or not even just women, about maybe people of color as well. And it could be this notion of we are this sort of rebel arts group that works for Splinterello, and it's like nobody ever really meets Splinterello, and so it's like, who's Splinterello? And all of us collectively we're a sort of a collective agency that creates art in the Renaissance, and we tell the story of how we all have to sort of not be found. And I think that's an interesting concept, is that we're going to release art, and it should take place in a place that's not that wasn't like Venice or Rome or one of the main areas in Italy. It should be something like Toledo. Toledo was a place with art. All of them had places of art, but it would be something that's a smaller thing. Maybe even just in Sicily. That could be a fun notion. So yeah, this is so this is the concept. I believe, I imagine that this is going to be something where you play this sort of rebel group playing this unknown artist named Splinterello, and Splinterello is starting to like gain attention, and you're in Sicily, or you're in some sort of like island off of Italy or something, or um Naples or something. I don't know. And the notion is that patrons are starting to come by, and they want to meet the great Splinterella. But if you're like, oh shoot, if they meet us, this is not going to go well because we're not accepted. And it's this notion of like, we have to we make a living through art, and we want to make a living through art, but it's the gosh darn Renaissance, and people are still really pretty flippin' racist and pretty sexist, and it's not going to work if we all came out. And so we have to, it's sort of a like, we have to keep this secret hidden, so people have to you have to scheme, and you have to like tell stories about how you continue to create art and inspiration, and I think there's a really cool dynamic that you create in this game where you're sort of playing through yeah, I think that's the concept. I think I did that in 10 minutes. Yeah, there's the concept. Do I want to make more? Maybe I just keep it a short session today. So that's 10 minutes. That's me brainstorming a game in 10 minutes based off of the sculpture and the sculptured. And we are sculptors who are sculpturing the Splinterello, but we're also sculpturing art for our living, and we created this sort of crazy workshop that I believe that what we'll start with is creating the workshop and our individual characters, and then you sort of from there have to establish your identity as artists, as a collective art group making really cool art for this Splinterello artist, the unknown fifth Renaissance artist. And maybe it could be a game where we find out that you get caught or something, and you have to get caught. It could be a notion that could be a pretty fun and interesting, unique notion that it's always going to be you get caught. But how long can you keep from getting caught? And maybe there's a component in the game where we have to constantly like move a dial back and forth, that like every time you become too brazen as artist, you become too good, you move this chart up, and every time you keep moving it up, people start to pay more attention to you. And so it could be very much that like heat check from Forged, where you have to heat check yourself. Like, oh no, we're getting too good, we have to pull back. But the artist has got art, and I think this is a neat concept, is that you have to I think that'd be a cool thing, is that you have this heat check, and you have to like constantly check your heat, and you have to constantly worry that if you become too good as artists. And I think there'd be really cool things where you get to inspire and create art. And I think there'd be a cool thing in the game where you get to just sit there, and you get to sit as a group and conceptualize an art piece together. I think that's a nice thing. Like, I think there's needs to be like, even in just games in general, I think that's something that we don't get to do enough of, where we just get to breathe through a thing. Like, we just get to sit there and RP through something. And I think like it would be cool that you get to like, there'll be points in the game where you have to create a new sculpture, and you get to find references, and you get to tell the story of how you come up with it, and how you design it, and who is it about, and what's the story of the art, and what inspires it. And I think that's really cool. And I think there'd be a cool thing where you have to sort of like figure out the level and the how good it is before it's released. And I imagine that there's going to be, parties you have to attend, and how do you hide being Splinterello in a party of a bunch of like, cis people that are like trying to stop you. And I don't know, I think there's something fun and unique about that. And yeah, it recognizes history, but it also kind of makes it tongue in cheek, and yeah, it's like Shakespeare in Love. I don't know if anyone remember that from Gwyneth Paltrow played a character who had to pose as a boy. And then, because actors in the Elizabethan era couldn't be women, it had to be men, and so women dressed up as men, and so Gwyneth Paltrow plays the original Romeo initially or something, and then eventually becomes the first Juliet, and it's this romantic tale, but it's something in that vein, like a historical game where we are playing a group of people subverting the rules of an olden society, and we will make art, and you can just go die for all I care. So the sculpture and the sculpted, and yeah, so that's the game. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy these little quandaries of game design thought and processes. And we'll see you at the next episode. Have a good one, and take care, all. I am going to go eat chicken.